Hi guys, I'm going to try to make a mummy outfit costume for Halloween and make it super simple. Okay, let's get into it. Alright, so for the top I use some cling wrap and just wrap that all the way around. So once that's wrapped around, you use some masking tape and wrap that around. So you wrap it all the way around to the length you want it to be, and then you have to cut it off. And I was by myself, so I had to try to cut it off by myself. Luckily, I'm flexible, so I could cut it off. Alright, so once you have that, then I'm going to put some tissue paper over top and use some Mod Podge to glue it down. So just put Mod Podge down, put then your tissue paper on top of that, and then just keep layering a few layers of tissue paper on to make it a little thicker. So just keep Mod Podging that down, or you can even use like your homemade mix of flour and water. So once you have that, then you're going to start adding your mesh, your gauze. You're going to start adding your gauze, and I use Mod Podge as well. You can also use like hot glue to glue it down, but I just use Mod Podge, and you just kind of keep layering it over, and then you can kind of take smaller strips and kind of lay them across like horizontal and just kind of give some different depth and dimension. So just keep putting those on there, and then once you have that done, you're gonna start adding some paint. So I just use some yellow, some brown, some black, some gold, some green, just to make it look a little bit old and like dirty and like used and everything, like you were coming out of the ground. But you can use whatever colors you like. You don't even have to paint it if you don't want. If you just want it to look pure white, that is totally fine as well. And then I just ripped it up a little bit to make it look tattered, so you can just pull at it. And then to make the ties, I just used one long piece, and we're going to glue it to the top there and glue the other side to the other side of the top. And then you're going to cut it, but leave one side a little longer so you can make a cool like neck design. So cut it, and then you're going to wrap it around the other piece and glue it down to kind of give like a different neck piece, so it looks a little unique when you tie it around your neck. So you just glue that down, and then for the sides, you're also gonna like flip it over and kind of like taper your top a little bit, and just glue it. So just fold it and glue it down a bit more to make it tapered, and then you're gonna take your gauze and lay the gauze down on either side to make your straps in the back. And same thing, I just glued the whole piece on to either side, and then I'm just going to cut it in the middle once I'm done, so you have your ties. And then I'm just going to add a few little spiders on to give it some depth and texture. Okay, so at this point, I'm trying to figure out how to make the bottoms, and I could just do the same thing with the tape and stuff, but then I had an old burlap skirt that I made, so I'm going to reuse that because I'm lazy. So I'll show you how I made that skirt. So I'm going to use old footage, once again, lazy, not redoing it. And then we're going to put some gauze over top of that, which made me realize I probably should have done the same thing for the top. So if you want to do that, what you could do is get the burlap, and same thing, you can like layer it. So like I have thin burlap, so it's like this big. So you can take a couple pieces and kind of like glue them together so that you can tie it in the back, and then put a little bit of gauze over top of it. That's probably what I should have done, but I thought of it too late, and I don't want to fix it now because I'm lazy and tired and sore. You get it. So anyway, let's go and finish off the skirt. Let's go. For this, I'm just kind of spitballing, but I'm thinking first, like the top layer, I'm gonna make long enough so that I can tie like another bow on top, and then add the burlap onto that. So get your first piece and put it around your body, and do the same thing at the top, and like make a little knot, and see if you can make a bow at the top, and that will be your first cut. So let's see how much length I need. So let's see, probably that much. So then I'm gonna make a little knot, and this way then I can actually put the skirt on so it fits, because otherwise I'm not sure what I would do. So yeah, so that will be your first, and then cut to here so you can make a knot and make a bow at the bottom as well. And then you're just gonna put the rest of the burlap on this and like go down, like keep gluing it down. And I think that might work. So we'll give that a try and go from there. Alright, so I have my first long piece that I tied into a knot, so I know where to start, and then I just kind of measured more pieces to that same length, but I cut it a little bit longer. So then you take those pieces and you flip it onto the back, so you want it where the pieces hook together, so where the cut part is on the back, so you don't see it as much, and just glue it to the back slightly, like to the rim of it, and then flip it over and just glue it to the very like rim of the top layer. And then just do this a few more times with some more of the burlap, as long as you want it to be. And same thing, flip it over and put the ends that are cut on the back so you don't see it as much. Glue those together, flip it over, and then just glue it to the top again. Alright, so I'm just going to add some gauze on top, and this time I'm just using the hot glue gun because it seemed a bit easier. So I'm just adding the gauze all the way around, and once it's glued on, I started to tear it apart a little bit, so I just used my nails, or you can use the knife, like a knife or scissors, but it's really easy to tear. You just want it to look like a little bit tattered and worn and stuff, so just give it a little bit of like a tug just to give it that kind of look. And now, because I realized I should use burlap for the top too, like I mentioned, I just cut up some pieces of burlap and then glued it onto the top to kind of make it look like it matched the bottoms. So once again, I probably should have used the burlap on top to begin, but I didn't think of it until the end. But you could use the burlap like I mentioned in the beginning, and then put the gauze over top of that for the top. You get it. But anyway, just added a little bit of that and kind of pulled it apart for texture as well. And then we have it pretty much done. So let's go try it on. All right, thanks so much for joining me, guys. Bye-bye.